Good day, this is Mr. Kays, and today we're going to be talking about 15.1. 15.1, North and Central African Societies. We see these folks as hunting and gathering societies. Why don't they settle down and farm? Well, the soil isn't that great, and they are semi-nomadic people that shoot their groceries and gather nuts, roots, honey, berries, etc., etc. Typical of this hunting and gathering society is the Efe people. They're from the Congo region, South Central Africa, the Congo region of Africa. And they lived in smaller groups. As I said before, they were nomadic. And the women are going to gather and the men are going to hunt. In this society, the oldest male leads. He isn't chief, but groups settle arguments by coming to a consensus. So here the oldest male leads, but he's not chief. We also see that there are no written laws because there's no written language, but they have guidelines for ruling themselves, and they take great care to follow the guidelines for reaching a consensus. Not majority, but consensus where you have 100% agreement. Stateless societies. Stateless societies are centered around family. Family is central. There's no central power like we see in modern nations, but is a central government, but family is the central part. Lineage. It's important for people to know who is related to them. So in the term lineage, people are descended from a common ancestor. And we're talking about people who are connected to those that are living, connected to those who are dead, and then the concern for the unborn, future generations. Well, how do you regard that? Well, being the best person you can be. So as that next generation is born, they feel that connection to you. Members are going to feel not only connection to individuals, but to the family unit overall. So stateless societies, it's where the family organization is central. And as I said again, there is no central power like we see in modern nation states. Tracing family descent. We're going to use a couple different words. One is patrilineal, where you trace your ancestors through your father's side of the family. And then matrilineal is where you trace your ancestors through your mother's side. It's very important to know who you're connected to by blood, in case you go to war, if you're sick, to settle disputes, etc., etc. Now, with the age set system, it's very much like what we have here in the United States. It's where young people are born and they pass through a certain time period together in life stages, like they all go to their education, boys with men and girls with women, at a certain time. They have ritual ceremonies like coming of age, where children are seen as adults in the eyes of the community, and it might have to do with certain things that you've learned, like being able to hunt, being able to pass tests of strength, etc., etc. Now, we saw a setup with family being central. Well, here we see one with Muslim states being central. The Maghreb region is the northern region of Africa along the coast and along the Mediterranean. So the region of North African coast along the Mediterranean. It's a fairly narrow strip, and it is not desert, but it does yield some vegetation. There are people who actually are farmers there, and they grow a grain called couscous. It's a type of Moroccan pasta. For the Maghreb region, you can put down that Islam spread in 632 AD. Muslim law is set up, and religious scholars rule. Remember, in Islamic society, you don't have a civil law and a religious law. Your religious law is your civil law. So if you asked the Muslims to show your constitution, they would take out the Quran and they would say, we follow the laws of the Prophet Muhammad. And also put down for Islamic law that personal and religious life are the same for the Muslim. Okay, we just put that down. Religious law is the same as civil law. There's no separation between your personal life and your religious life. Almoravids, who were they? They were an 11th century group of Berbers, B-E-R-B-E-R-S, and they were devoted to a strict Islamic teaching. We began to see them spread their faith through conquest, not trade, but the sword, and they pushed north into Spain, into southern Spain, and there they were known as Moors, M-O-O-R-S, until they were finally kicked out by the Christians during I would say the 16th century. So the Almoravids are these Berbers. Now later on, we're going to see the Almohads take over. Who are they? About the mid-1100s, we begin to see them take power from the Almoravids, and they wanted to purify Islam. They didn't think that the Almoravids were following the original faith, and they wanted to return it to an orthodoxy. And they're going to make Marrakesh their capital. You don't have to worry about putting Marrakesh down. Just know it's a trading city. We'll back up here. So the Almohads are going to purify Islam in their mind, but there's going to be a breakup into these little individual kingdoms. Their rule lasted about 100 years. But it's important to note that the Almohads united the Maghrib region for the first time. So Islam is going to unite people through trade and through religion. Well, that's 15.1. See you down the road. Bye-bye.